All right, welcome to week 2 feature matches, Outlaws of Thunder Junction League, and we're starting off with our a duel, so our weekly stipulation match. In this case, being a 52 card deck with at least four different basic land types, but I believe they may have gone for the full five from what they said earlier. And Raphael's going to tell us about what's in Jack's hand as we're looking at Nick's hand from my vantage point.
So he's working with what you see on the field, plus a forest, 3 steps ahead of Racious Varmint, his good buddy Selvala, and the Gem Lightfoot. What's Nick rocking with over there?
All right, so he's got Discerning Peddler, A Journey to Nowhere, Rush of Dread, and some lands, a Plains, a Mountain, and a Conduit Pylon. So Nick is a new player to our league here, joining us from the UK. So it's quite late at night. So thanks to him for staying up. He did mention he was on vacation this week, so he could stay up and be with us here this evening for the feature match. And he's signaling a yeehaw about this Selvala, but I don't know if he's feeling a yeehaw inside of him when he sees Selvala.
I mean, does he have any way to answer the Selvala in hand?
He does have Journey to Nowhere. He could just literally just play his planes and cast Journey to Nowhere. Um, he has Rush of Dread in hand if he wants to get. Yeah. So Jack has he has noted that yes, the Naga Vitalist can actually, if you have a land like Conduit Pylons, it's just Naga Vitalist taps for any color.
Well, no, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because Maga Vitalist says it taps to add 1 mana of any color that a land you control could produce. And Conduit Pylons could produce any color of mana. You just have to tap an extra land. But the Mega Vitalist doesn't care. It just sees that it could produce it. So, very nice. So, yeah, he's just going to go for the straightforward play that I think most people would land on, which is get that Journey to Nowhere and get that Selvala off the board. He's drawn. For turn, he had a Tenacious Underdog, or that's what he drew from the Discerning Peddler, which is a 2-drop black creature from Capenna. He's also got another Capenna card in his hand, the Torch Breath, which is X and a red. Deal X to a creature.
Ooh, I mean,
I believe
so
you
Jack
get a
is holding up
discount.
3 steps ahead,
Okay.
and he's hovering over it.
Um,
I guess as
I don't think he can
potentially.
cast 3 steps ahead though. He needs 2 blue, and he needs 3 mana, 2 of them to be blue.
That's not going to happen then.
Yeah, so the Naga
I think
Vitalist
one
can
of
make
those,
a blue.
one's like happy.
The Naga Vitalist can make a blue, but the Conduit Pylons cannot make a blue on its own without being tapped for its second ability.
How do you feel about this duel? It's probably the one duel I was most worried about because it's kind of like really hard to do anything. Kind of like I guess consistent, right?
I mean, look, I appreciate the idea of the duels. They happen to not be for me, but I'm going to enjoy watching them. I will say the last week's duels were not that interesting to watch. The games were very short, and people were playing things like Skull Cracks and stuff in their deck, which is just, it's like not the type of Magic that I would want to play or watch. But I mean, this is interesting because it is a very big deck building restriction, and you get to see a bunch of people try and make their mana work. And so far, it's been mostly functional. And Voracious Varmint doing what it does here.
Oh,
Ooh. So
gets Roxanne off the top.
yeah, so this Voracious Varmint has been just the bane of white decks all over this format, killing all the various what we call O rings. So if
It
Nick
just feels so
wishes,
bad
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. So if Nick wishes, he could Snakeskin Veil here just to keep his Vault Punter alive, which doesn't feel amazing, but it dies to the next rock that comes flying out of the sky here.
I mean, so what's Jack got in hand left? He's got a Repulse, still the 3 steps ahead in the Gem Lightfoot.
Yeah, so we got another Journey to Nowhere on top of the deck for Nick from his
Yikes.
Surveil. This Rush of Dread is not going to do what you want it to do, which is, when the card's good, it's real good. When it's bad, he's just reading it over and over. He's just highlighting it, reading it, and then probably realizing it doesn't do what he needs it to do.
He's probably hoping like Questing Beast, he'll start developing more text.
Yeah, no, I mean, when your opponent has 2 creatures that are excellent and 2 creatures that are disposable, the Rush of Dread gets a lot worse. And I mean, Jack is pretty much all fixed up on mana now with this meteorite, which could tap for two of anything.
I mean, he's got to feel pretty good in his position right here. So if Nick were to try and get aggressive here, it kind of like opens Jack up to just swing with Roxanne, kill the 4-2, and then hold up 3 steps ahead on Nick's turn. Or I guess he has the repulse also. If I'm correct, repulse hits any permanent.
Return target creature to its owner's hand, I believe.
Okay, so not any permanent then.
Maybe I think it's creature.
Not 100% sure.
All right, well here comes a rock, as we figured. Yeah, so Journey to Nowhere is on top of the deck here, but it sounds like it could hit a counter spell when it comes down because it will be coming down this turn.
I think Jack's just gonna rip off the Dance of the Tumbleweeds here.
Okay, it's gonna make a 5/5.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it would be 5 indeed. I don't believe he'll be able to hold up mana though for the counter spell.
No, you'll need three
I
mana.
forget how does Savala just make mana for creatures? I've never actually seen this card in play. Like when I
Selvala,
was
the,
playing.
the the one that the one that's gone now.
It's gone. It's gone.
No, well, what Selvala does is you tap it and you choose a color, and then you add as much mana as you have different powers among your creatures.
Ooh, that's actually pretty good.
So normally you're probably going to have two or three different powers among your creatures, and it has vigilance too, so it attacks and then it casts spells as well. Yeah, Selvala is quite something. So Journey to Nowhere is coming here. I think it's got to be the Roxanne.
Gotta be the
It's just gonna. I
Roxanne.
mean, the
Like the
five
five.
five he could at least not have to lose his creatures to free triggers.
Ooh, murder drawn for the turn. I mean,
Oh
Jack's hand's looking really good.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, definitely strong looking hand here from
He can
what you
I
said.
just like get the gemstone down and then kind of just play more reactive.
So he's looking for a double block here. It sounds like it may not work out for him. And Nick's maybe
I mean,
having second thoughts about the double block. Oh no,
yeah, if I were Nick, I might just take this.
I think
Like it just
I
feels
mean
dangerous.
he's behind enough that it's not gonna. It's like what does he do if he doesn't block? He just takes six, lets Jack play whatever, and then hopes to top deck something.
Great, he has a way to blink the Rhino away.
Yeah, I mean he could again Rush of Dread just looking very poor here. Not going to kill anything that he needs dead. He's drawn a Treasure Dredger for the turn, so not really anything that's going to advance the game in his favor. But there's still time. I mean, we don't know what kind of things he could pull off the top of the deck here.
I mean, from here, Jack can kind of just play more reactive, get the extra cards off the Lightfoot, and just hold up 3 steps ahead of murder.
Very well. I'm guessing that this double block is going to get blown out yet again.
Oh yes.
Oh, no, he lets it happen. He
Oh,
says, you know what? I'm just going to draw my card. I like drawing cards, and he's drawn as an insult to injury here the Ariad's Lullaby, which destroys a tapped creature.
well, I mean, Lightfoot's not tapping anytime soon.
Nope, sure ain't. Again, I mean, he could
Well,
make. I mean, he could Rush of Dread, make make Jack lose two cards from his hand. He can Mind Rot him. I mean, he
I'm not
could.
even sure if that's really good in this board state, right? So you just go to 5 on your turn.
I think he's thinking
And I
of.
mean, like, even if he tries to rush instead, he's just going to get countered.
I think he's thinking of bringing in this playing the underdog here for its blitz cost in the graveyard.
There's really not much else you can do. Jack's kind of just like slowly suffocating him here.
Uh,
Like having to deal with Silvala and then Roxanne.
yeah, like Nick hasn't really played too many threats of his own. He's just sort of
I believe
been
he does have a Railway Brawler,
okay.
and I forget what else he has. I played him earlier this week, but
Okay.
that Brawler, when it comes down on curve, is pretty
Oh
disgusting.
yeah, yeah. That's just one of those like, why? How is this even a card? You read it. What? How? How? Why? All right. Well, underdog's
So
going to
what?
come in. He's going to try and draw a card here, but he's just going to do the 3 steps ahead. I think is he activating all the modes? No, just oh Oh, he did draw a mode to copy non-land permanent. I guess is one of the modes. I thought you only copied creatures, but I guess you could copy an artifact also. So you got an extra meteorite there just for good measure. And the Aloe Alchemist gives him the lethal he needs. And unfortunate run there here. Oh, Nick has called his deck Please Work. That's the name of his deck.
I don't blame him. Like in this duel, I'd probably name my deck the exact same thing. Like, please do the thing.
Yeah, so his mana is four of each non-blue land, three pylons, and a green-white dual land from looks like MKM, the Surveil land. Uh,
Seems Jack's on the opposite side. Well, not really opposite, just four of each non-red land. So four plains, four islands, four swamps,
yeah,
and four forests.
okay, but he
Grim.
is
He
still
does
but
have
he
a
is
lot
playing
of
a
really.
red card.
Yes, I'm trying to find out. Even from the dual lands,
Yeah, so he
I guess
does.
conduit and pylons is really the only way,
Yeah,
along with some of his creatures, to get that fixing in there.
yeah. Well, we know Naga Vitalist is perhaps a key part of his deck here. So yeah, there is the Railway Brawler you mentioned. He's also got a Laughing Jasper Flint, which is his other, I'd say, notable bomb here. But
I don't think Jack made any changes. I think he looked and just said, "All right, we're good." Game one went pretty well.
Nick is weighing his options. I think he maybe comes to the conclusion that they're not great options.
I mean, this is also very what like high rolly as a duel, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to hit your cards or at least your land base. Is he like in a certain color base mainly?
He has, I mean, white is his least played color. He has only one white creature, but the rest of his creatures, he has green, red, and black. He has all different colors at all points of the curve. So not really. I couldn't say that any one of them is the least. White is definitely the least. He has one white creature, and then his other white cards are all removal spells.
Trying to keep down a little bit of a splash. I like it. I think both players are at 4 and 5 for a
Okay.
record, so they do have quite a bit of punishment packs.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to end the week on a positive note. So
And let's see
we'll
here.
see
I
how this
believe
goes.
the bets are in. Nick is the underdog.
Okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense. He's not really a known quantity yet as a new player. He has come in on our chats a few times when we're drafting and streaming during the day. So I have chatted with him a few times, and he's very happy to be able to be in a feature match. As like I said, normally he would be well asleep at this hour in the UK, but like, happy to be here. Happy to have him here.
Well, if you bet on Nick, you'll be making 500 and change Thunder Bucks.
Ooh.
Let's see. Jack is working on a mulligan here. The hand
Okay.
looks really nice. He's got a Stoic Sphinx, four lands, two islands, one swamp, one forest, and the Bloodseeker. So pretty much everything in the hand is castable except this tether that he just drew for turn. What's Nick working
All
with?
right, well, he's going to cast the Silver Deputy here, which is going to get him a black source. He has Treasure Dredger, the Rush of Dread that he had last game, the Longhorn Sharpshooter. He's got a Plains, and he's got his one blue card, which is Loot, the key to everything.
Oh,
Haven't
well,
seen
that's
haven't
quite
seen
some
that
advantage
one.
there.
Haven't seen that one in play too much. I think I tried it once and it was just too slow for what it did. But if he gets it in play here, he will get to exile two cards because he does have an artifact and a creature all in one package here.
Yeah, I mean Jack's not doing too much over here. He just milled his planes, so he drew a trained arms for the turn. So that's
Okay.
two uncastables in hand.
Hmm.
Probably just gonna like try and win off the back of the Sphinx.
Yeah, I think he's gonna just play the loot next turn and try and start drawing cards. He could also plot the sharpshooter to shock something, but I I think he just gets down his little. I think it's like a little beast or something. I think it was like the punchline was like they went through all this trouble to get to the vault, and it's like this little goofy looking thing that's guarding it.
Is he the prize or is he just guarding the prize?
I'm not sure, but it reminds me of like the Wizard of Oz. Like when they pull back the curtain, it's like this bumbling idiot guy.
You'd be ashamed to know I've never watched The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, come on now. Oh, come on. Anyway.
All right, well, we're seeing Luke come down.
Well, he's supposed to be this powerful almighty wizard, and he talks through this like mega speakers, like in this very resounding voice, and then it's just like some bumbling idiot talking through a machine. Anyway, all right. So Glint Weaver, unfortunately, not going to be cast. That's a nice one from MKM. Vault Plunderer, also seen, but he has a Railway Brawler. Cannot hard cast it. Could plot it though. So we'll see what he decides to do with this turn.
I mean, plotting it seems pretty good. How long do you have to use these cards from loot? Is it end of turn?
It's that turn, I believe.
Okay. And there's a few cards that do one or the other. Some let you until like your next end step. Some are that end step.
I'm
Use it or lose it.
I'm guessing it's this turn, but like I said, I put the card in the deck once and it was not doing very much for me. It's just so small. Like I mean, Ward one. I mean, yeah, it probably won't die. You'll probably get to untap with it, but you do need something else in play for it to do absolutely anything. But got him a card here, and the Vault Plunderer gets him another card. So he's setting up here. He drew a Swamp in hand, which means Rush of Dread can come down in the next couple turns if he feels he needs it to.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could be worrisome for Jack is if for any reason he swings with this 2/2 again and has it die, then the Rush of Dread could pick off the Sphinx.
Mm,
But I think Jack's gonna go Sphinx block, and then he's got the mana dork from the last game that makes a mana that he could produce.
okay, so
It's not gonna help with the white though.
protection against a Rush of Dread that he doesn't know his opponent has in hand.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have checked his pool and said I should maybe play as if to not instantly lose to the card. But yeah, okay. So playing his Arinx here finally, and
I mean that planes came
Nick's
come up.
yeah Nick can play his well he's got a bunch of options now, Railway Brawler and Jasper Flint in hand. Railway Brawler
Yeah.
does present a trade with the Sphinx, which is not what you want your Railway Brawler to do, but it may end up being what needs to be done, perhaps.
Well, Jack still has the mystical tether in hand, so he
Mm.
can always just tether away the brawler.
All right. Well, Nick is in trouble in that case. I mean, he can play. He could play Longhorn Sharpshooter also. Just literally just play it out without plotting it to block or to attempt to. He's got a few options. Again, none of them are great, but he can find a few different ways to deal with this. And he says he's dragging the Railway Brawl around. It's the second time he's dragged it as if to cast it, and then decided not to. But
He really wants to resolve it, right? Like if Railway Brawler sits for a turn, then the thing is kind of done the very next turn. Especially with loot, just like finding you more resources.
yeah, with this 5/3 threat, he needs to do something now, and his options are limited because he can't target it because of that wonderful ability that they keep printing, even though they once upon a time said they were going to not print as much because it's not very fun.
Honestly, it's pretty rough, right? I mean, like you have to wait for them to cast something, or you have to be able to hit it that same turn they play it. Which normally, like, it's just not a read you have all the time.
Like normally, hexproof. The drawback of hexproof is that your creature's overcosted, right? You're paying like 6 mana for like a 4/4 hexproof or something like this, or 4 mana for like a 2 power hexproof. No, here we got four mana flash flying 5 power. Like what? This like it takes away the whole drawback usually of hexproof, which is that they're small or overcosted, and this is just insanely costed, obviously.
It's a big boy.
So Jack is saying I want to go for the kill here. He can start, plundering off my deck with Jasper Flint, but
I mean, Nick is gonna have a plethora of
I
options,
mean,
right?
he's
Four
looking
cards
at
off
6 cards
Jasper.
here. I mean,
Yeah, plus
he's
the draw for turn.
he's seeing all sorts of cards, but none of them say kill a hexproof creature.
No, I mean, he might just play like what is the only reacher he has Brawler in hand.
Yeah, he has a Railway Brawler.
He might just go for the Brawler line here. If there's really nothing else better, yeah, even Jack said that's a lot of
I
cards.
mean, I know he doesn't have enough damage on board. to do like Rush of Dread. Opponent loses half their life and sacks half their creatures. He doesn't have enough damage on board to. Oh well. So Jack would have to sacrifice the 5/3 probably to not die, leave two blockers back, and he goes down to 9, and then he attacks it with everything. I don't know if it's enough.
Well, if I'm looking at the board correctly, Nick has 11 damage on board.
With his creatures, looks like it, yeah. 7, 8, yeah. But there would still be blockers, so but so he wouldn't die.
I think it's too risky. Yeah, I think it's too risky of a line.
Yeah, Jack has life gain too from the Bloodseeker. I think in order to live, I think he's come to the conclusion that this is what he has to do though. So he got to exile 6 cards, five of which were non lands, but don't think any like this is why why are we still working with Hexer? Like they literally created Ward to say like okay, we want to have creatures that are hard to kill but still have options, still have an interactive game. So we make you pay taxes on your removal. And I think for the most part everybody's okay with that. And then they give us this and we're like, why?
I'm with you. This Sphinx has been like just a pain in the rear anytime I've seen it.
I mean, look, it was a perfectly good game, and then we get this thing that just says, "Well, you can't answer it." All right, I think he's come to the same conclusion as me, which is he has to try and force something here, uh, and it's going to be with the Rush of Dread, I think, to sack 2 creatures and lose 10 life. I mean, that is the play.
Does he have another piece of removal in hand? Is that a Journey to Nowhere I see in there?
There's a Journey to Nowhere. He also has the Aloe Alchemist, which can, yeah, I mean, he just journeys here, and he found it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Rush of Dread was the line. I mean, I think even if he, no, if he sacked his Sphinx, I think he lives, right?
He could have lived, but I mean, I don't think he can really come back after that. All he has in hand is Roxanne.
Yeah, so like sacking the Sphinx was what he needed to do because it wasn't a blocker, and he saw there was an open face removal there, right, staring him in the face. So I think
I
Jack.
mean,
I
having
mean, I
all
mean,
those.
I don't know if Jack could have drawn anything, but he certainly could have lived in the face of the known information. And
Yeah, I was gonna say he did see the Journey to Nowhere in the Exile pile, right?
yeah, 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 it's all visible. So both Loot and Jasper Flint exile the cards face up from. I mean, well, you if you saw them, then they're face up. All right, so we're gonna get a game 3 here in our duel here, where the winner walks away with
Nick
100,
keeping.
100 virtual AGL dollars, and maybe
I honestly forget who I bet for in this match. So
I, I, did you not say you bet on Jack?
at the very end, I said I bet for whoever was playing against Jack, but I don't know if I actually did
Uh,
it. I'm not quite sure.
well, I have no concerns for that because I have opted to stay out of the saloon here.
I mean, it must be nice, but I mean, so Jack's got a pretty decent
Ooh,
hand here. It's
Kellen.
slow, but he's gonna have access to all of his colors.
So
There's
do we
Kellen.
know what Kellen does? I think it's when you cast a spell from exile, you can play something from your hand of equal or less mana.
Gonna be honest, I would not know.
Okay, I believe it's that.
I've never seen Kellen played, but I mean, he also had the option of Dance of the Tumbleweeds to get his mana completely fixed because he has 2 black cards in hand, Selvala, and he just drew 3
Okay.
steps ahead for the turn.
All right.
So I
Well,
mean, the black cards are uncastable, but if he draws a land, he can slap out Selvala next
all right.
turn.
Well,
What's
I think Alex is okay. He's deciding to just kill this Kellen before proceeding with the Jasper Flint that I think he really wants to play.
Yeah, Jasper
Okay.
is
No.
gonna be a
Okay.
thorn in Jack's side.
He just said, you know what? I can kill him next turn. He has Torch Breath, which is X on a red, deal X damage, but you get a discount of 2 mana if you target a blue creature, which Kellen is. So I've seen Kellen more in play on Standard when I was watching the Pro Tour with that like 5-color Legends deck than I have seen him in play in Limited. I can tell you that much.
Does he tend to live pretty long, like in standard?
Oh well, I mean they play it in that 5-color Legends where they're exiling stuff with Joda cast exiles, cast things from exile, like he cascades. Inti, you can cast things from exile, so it works, I guess. I don't. But
I've never heard of this deck. You mean DMU Joda?
yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Huh.
so
I'm into it.
next deciding what to do, I think he says, I'm going to make a treasure. I'm going to murder the Selvala rather than the Kellen. So he still has the torch breath for Kellen. He says, I don't mind if he gains a few life here. I can fight him on card advantage. I don't want him making multiple mana and casting multiple things per turn. I want to limit his ability to cast things and also not to be hit for 4 with Vigilance.
You have to see what Jack's gonna do here. So he drew another forest for turn. He can hold up 3 steps ahead with his 2 blue, um, or else just dance with the tumbleweeds. It looks
So,
like we're gonna dance for the black and still hold up the counter spell,
okay.
unless he decides to grab a tap land.
No, I don't think he's going to. I think he needs a counter here. Like he's already behind with the Jasper Flint. Like yes, he's ahead on life, but he's behind on board and card advantage.
Yeah, and the worst feeling ever is like if Jasper gets your removal, Nick gets to hold up his torch, use his removal, get it countered, and then still save the torch for the very next turn.
Of note, because it's one of those red spells that hates on blue, Torch Breath has the text "It cannot be countered." So
Okay. Hexproof on spells? Was that from SNC? Yes, it
yes.
was.
Well, it was. It's like they sometimes make these cards that like hate on blue, either red or green cards that like hate on blue. And they just often just have that added text. So it you get a discount for targeting a blue creature, and it can't be countered. So that 3 steps ahead, I guess he was less than 3 steps ahead here.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing he could have done is if he had one more mana, he could have made a copy of it to still keep one around.
All right, so he's playing a face down card here, which is the Rift Burst Hellion, which I think Jack's just going to counter anyway. It's the one that flips up for 6, the big one. Left in hand, nothing of note here. A swamp and a silver deputy. So if Jack can get this Jasper off the board and get down basically anything, he'll be able to make some headway.
Well, he's got a paladin in hand, so you can always go paladin blood fountain.
Oh, Blood Fountain. Okay, okay.
But there's no answer currently for Jasper. Sadly, Nick might get Jack's answer and cast it on Jack.
Okay, so he's got Rush of Dread here that he can cast with the Swamp. He could just do like a 1-for-1 Rush of Dread here. It's not efficient, super efficient, but it'll do the job. Um, yeah, so for 4 mana, he
You
can
can,
just kill the Spinewoods, and then he can cast Trash the Town for the mode of drawing 2 cards if he
and
wants the Paladin gone.
alternatively, he can also go, what is it? One, two, three. Jack sacks creature, and he can either choose one of the other 2 modes, right? Jack either
Could,
discards
yeah.
the card in hand or sacks creature.
But, I mean, if I'm him, I mean, look, I like to draw cards. If I'm him, I'm just going to use the card draw mode from Trash the Town.
Well, Jasper's for.
All right. So again, deciding. I mean, I figure he's just going to use the Rush of Dread here. Just wants this 5/4 gone. He can keep beating in. I mean, the 5/4 can come back eventually with Blood Fountain, but it'll take a while. Blood Fountain is 4 to activate. Okay, no, he's just going to go for the deal 10 damage mode, which I mean, it's a very very good mode as well.
I mean, it's what, a 2 turn clock? I like it.
I just see that card draw spell going to waste, and it hurts. But I know this is the way. I understand this is the way.
That's what Jasper's for, man. And sadly, Jack drew a land for the turn, so that is not an answer to Jasper. He says the Rictus Robber.
I mean, Rush of Dread absolutely rotted in Nick's hand in the first game, but we're now seeing it, take over. I mean, Jasper was already, putting the screws in a bit, but now it's the Rush of Dread was game winning last game and appears to potentially be game winning here from what we can see. All right, so
All right,
Journey
so he's
Nowhere.
drawing a Journey to Nowhere.
All right, so he only takes 2 this turn. Plots the Rictus Robber. Okay, so he untaps that 1 life here.
I mean, one of this format's quite dangerous. Just a desert will kill you.
Yep. And well, Nick has a silver deputy in hand, so if he has a pink desert, he can go get it. But he does not.
Jack's got to be sweating so hard
He's
right
not
now.
playing
Please don't
any.
have
I
that.
mean, he's not playing any of his ping deserts. I guess he just. I think I saw a couple of on color ones in his sideboard, but I think he just went for the conduit pylons as his non-basic lands. Because I think I saw a green white and one other one when he was in his sideboard. But because of the restriction, you only have very few slots open for other types of lands.
So, okay, I see it here. 4 sacrifices bring a creature back, correct?
Blood Fountain, it's 4 mana. You get 2 creatures back to hand.
Oh. Did it go to the hand? Yeah,
Yeah,
back
no,
to
it's
his
hand. It's a
hand.
common. It's not a. It's not reanimate.
That's
It's a. It
tough.
was
One
a
creature
very
takes a
strong
strike.
common, just not. Just he's a bit strained on how many things he can cast. But if you can get 2 creatures into play, one of them being a
I'm
four
not
three.
seeing it. I'm not seeing it
No,
because it's going to cost
okay.
4 to activate
So he doesn't.
for
He
me to
didn't have a
expend.
2 drop creature in there, I guess. All right. Well, we see the rush of dread come and give Nick the victory. So whoever placed a wager on him, well, you are going to be very happy. So congratulations to Nick, first feature match, first victory, and we'll see you back in a little while for our second match.